So Vlad, so good to see you. So before we get started here, I need to know how to pronounce your last name because if I try, I'm gonna butcher it terribly, and I don't want to do that to you just to start off with here.
Well, it's good to be here. Thank you for having me. Um, my last name is Belonozhko, and it's Ukrainian. So, and it has a Z in it, so it throws everybody off. You're not the only one.
So you are the founder of Bellos Audio, and so you
Yes.
have a little bit of history with 64 Audio and Fur Audio as well. Wait, oh man, before we get started, I think I'm wearing my 64s. Hold on, just a second. This is wrong. This is wrong.
Oh, you forgot what interview you're doing. this next bit here
Oh
is
man,
gonna
I'm
be.
sorry. I'm hoping you weren't talking too much trash while I had my ears out.
Oh, no, no, no.
Man, I cannot believe I made that mistake. I cannot believe that is my bad. Okay, so I'm
Oh,
a
it's
dork. So we are Bellows artists here at New Release Today. You know, we've established this relationship, which I got to say, Vlad has been so awesome. But I mean, before we get to that, I want to come back to tell us a little bit about the journey. 64 for audio and what Bellows Audio is all about.
Yeah, so it's been quite a journey. This coming year, in the beginning of the year, it's going to be 14 years since I personally got involved in custom in-ears, and but it goes a little bit even back before then. I am a musician. I'm a singer, and I used custom in-ears, and so that was my first experience with that. But me and my brothers had a band, and we were a Christian band, and we were doing our thing as an independent artist. And we were probably one of the few independent artists that had custom in-ears. That was a big investment at the time. It wasn't as widespread as it is now, and eventually, I think one of our ears broke, and our older brother started tinkering with them, and he repaired them. And what ended up happening is when he started doing this for friends and folks at church, and word kind of started spreading. And so he opened a company called
Oh wow.
64 Audio, or 1964 Ears at the time.
Yep.
And when we were doing a lot of touring as an independent artist, we got a little bit worn out on tour, and decided to take a little break, a few months, and at the time, same time, so we needed some work too, and he had some work that needed to be done, and we kind of got involved, the four of us brothers from the band, and it was really cool because it's a field that we love. It's music. It's in the music. It's making products for the musician. And it was a very natural thing to do because we are musicians. So we essentially kind of were making products that we would want to use on stage and on tour. And we built that experience around our experience. And so, yeah, so that was great. A lot of amazing growth as a company, as a brand that we worked on there. And then after almost 10 years, it was time to do something else. And so I did independent branding marketing work after that. And then my younger brother opened a custom in-ear monitor company called Fur Audio, and then I got involved. I didn't think I was going to be involved in custom in-ears anymore, but I did get involved, and that we making premium, really premium custom in-ears, and elevating that experience again. And then I always had this vision for a custom in-ear that is more accessible, and also solves a few things, solves a few drawbacks that conventional custom in-ear monitors have. And that became Bellos Audio. And we can dive into, what those things are in a little bit, but that's how we got here.
That's awesome. So the sibling rivalry, when you guys get together for Thanksgiving or whatever holiday, Christmas, what does a sibling rivalry look like at your house?
We don't talk too much business anymore. um, but no, it's good. It's fine. We have a very big family. I'm one of 12 kids.
Oh, wow.
And so there's, we learned how to get along a long time ago, growing up. And so, and just as we know each other really well, it's one of those things though, sometimes when we did work together, when it was good, it was awesome. But when it was bad, it was really bad. It could, and luckily we didn't stay in that bad state for too long, it just, but it's life. And, what I really, really enjoyed is, that I got to experience being a part of a team where everyone has different strengths. But when you come together, you kind of cover each other's weaknesses. And so that was really beautiful. I really enjoyed that. Yeah.
That's so awesome. So before we get to what makes these ears different, let's talk about the importance of in-ear monitors, like just even if you're on the worship team at church. And what is the kind of the importance? Why is it so important to have a good in-ear mix and a good in-ear monitor, when you're doing any live music?
Oh, well, yeah. Custom in-ears, a monitoring mix in general is kind of the foundation of everything you can hear and how you sing, play, especially at a church when you're leading worship. You need to be in a comfortable state to where you can kind of hear the things you need to hear around you and hear yourself, and not be distracted by a bad mix or if something's going wrong, because you're going to feel it. Even if someone's a super professional, and they can play it off, you're still going to be able to feel it. Or, the potential of that service or that song or that moment won't come through like it should. And the potential, of course, is you're not able to get the full potential of the moment, right? And what we're supposed to do, what we're called to do when we lead worship.
Yeah. So at least from what I've seen, kind of going from some of the Amazons to some of the less expensive Sures and all that. I mean, just the experience of just being able to get in the moment of worship yourself, or whether it's a live show or whatever, you're able to get into that moment just along with the crowd and not just be stuck with something that's like, okay, I can muddle through this. And I think that's something that translates to the other side of the speakers as well.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. It can be the difference between struggling through, a service and actually just going, experiencing a powerful moment with God, and that channels through to the congregation. And so, yeah, and when we had the floor monitors, those are good, but obviously had a lot of downsides to it when it came to hearing yourself clearly, especially as a vocalist, and if you're by a drum or a guitarist or any type of stage volume, you need to put your vocal above everyone else, and that becomes really loud. And then everyone else is reacting by turning their stuff up. And so it was, it was as good as it could get at the time. But now with custom in-ears, you have a personalized mix that you can fully control, and you have isolation. So you bring the volume down with everything around you. And it's important, of course, to spend some time to dial in your mix to make sure that it's where you want it to be during a rehearsal or a sound check. And if you have a wireless unit, you can move around on stage. It's a beautiful thing without the mix changing, and super comfortable when they're custom fit, right? They don't fall out. They don't. It's just a consistent sound. So,
Yeah, and I think dialing in that mix is probably one of the bigger pieces to that as well. I saw this hot take of, give me my floor wedges back, and I'm like, man, there's something wrong. I mean, seek help, professional help immediately. But no, I mean, it's like that to me kind of also says that like the mix isn't dialed in well.
Yeah.
Because if you're trying to get
Something
back to that floor wedge, yeah,
it's probably the mix or something, maybe with the product itself, maybe is not comfortable.
and I guess there are people out there. I mean, there's grace for everybody who does like the live sound and not the in-ears as well with the air. I mean, God's grace is good for everybody, right? But
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you a little bit about what we did differently with
yes,
our
let's do
approach
that.
with the X series from Bellos Audio. So we addressed three things, three major things that I've kind of seen, and we've kind of really distilled it down to these three things that really need a leap forward in the industry. And I mean, it's a product that I would like to have personally. And so that, again, I volunteer at a local church on a worship team, and I use my own product now, and I always have. And it's the best feedback, of course, is using your own product.
All right.
But three things. One is fit and comfort. So, contrary to popular belief, not all custom in-ear monitors are actually very comfortable. And why that is because most of them, all of them they have a long canal stem that goes pretty far into your canal.
Yep. Let's
And
get you back up, and I don't know how gross these are, but
yeah,
I mean they
so
have a long stem.
yeah, and why that was done is because for retention purposes, right? So it stays in your ear. That was kind of the conventional wisdom, is for it to stay in your ear nicely, you got to make the canal long. But something we've known early on is that with any, like if you're singing or talking, any jaw movement, your ear canals are changing shape. And on top of that, if you're smiling or if you're making any facial expressions, your ear canals are changing shape. And so why most custom in-ear monitors are not comfortable is because you make a mold for your ear canals that are actually going to be changing shape. Yep. And when it does that, for example, you're like 20 minutes into the set, you kind of maybe break a sweat a little bit and they start to slip out. And it's because, it's changing shape. Your ear canals the IEM canal is not adjusting to it, and it starts to kind of slide out, and it breaks isolation. So
and it has to have a hard plastic to it too, because any rubber over time will disintegrate and potentially fall off in your ear, and it becomes a whole situation. And
yes, and so it basically. So what we realized is we looked at this and we're like, what can be done about this? How can we solve this? How can we make it better? And so we looked at this and we started experimenting. And we found a solution, and so we invented a technology called in-ear canals. And we basically, how it works is we mold a custom ear mold, so the outer ear is custom fit, but for the canal portion of it, we place what we call an air tip. It looks like a universal fit tip, but what's really special about it is since we're designing the custom in-ear monitor in a 3D CAD program, and then we 3D print it, we have a lot more capabilities of control over how we design this thing and how it actually how it works. And so we're able to perfectly place this air tip at the entrance of your canal instead of going inside. And so most people will say, well, wait, won't these fall out? Well, you think they would, because again, the conventional wisdom and how everyone's been doing it, but it actually works the opposite. They sit in really nicely, and any jaw movement, any facial expressions does not affect the fit. I've always had a problem with my right ear. So while singing, if I'm trying to hit a high note and I really open my jaw, my right side would slip out. There's nothing I can do on my X4s to break the seal, which is a beautiful thing. um, and uh, and so it sits there really nicely. It's the most comfortable fit because we're not going far into your ear canals. It sits there really nicely. They feel light, and and they're easy to take out, put back in, because we're not going far into the ear canal. There's less kind of physical ear fatigue, and yeah, so that's the in-ear canals. We've solved that problem. We've greatly cut down on fit issues too, because most fit issues are in the canal portion of the in-ear monitor, because it's got two bends in it. It's every ear is different. It's really tricky to work with. So yeah, so we have a very, very good fit rate, and yeah, so that's the fit. We believe we've solved a very, very, very big problem with custom in-ear monitors.
And I'm going to be honest, like the first time I put them in, I thought they were going to fall out. Complete honesty. But, give it a few minutes and like
Most people
like
do. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because if you've used the conventional ones, you feel like, whoa, this is not going to work, but it actually works.
It does. And super comfortable.
Yeah. And so that's the first thing, the fit and comfort. Because you have to be comfortable on stage to get into the moment. If you got any distractions, it's going to take away. So we feel like that's so important. And then second thing is build time. So most IEM, custom IEM brands are at about a month or more on build time. And we think that's too long, especially, if you're a touring musician and, and you don't always have that runway of, 4 or 6 weeks. And you'll have to pay premiums to get them quicker and that kind of stuff. So we designed a product line as one of the features to be built in 5 business days. And so that was like a material thing, of the product. Because we believe customer service is a huge part of the experience of using custom in-ear monitors. Yeah. It's not just when you get them, it's how quickly you get them too. That matters. And so what we did is 5 business days. And because we prioritized fit, comfort, and sound, and we scaled back on all the customizations that you would see from the other brands, like custom logos and fancy pink glitters, which is cool. But
you're outing my pair, dude. Come on.
But what is a custom in-ear monitor designed to do? It's supposed to fit great. It's supposed to sound great. And as a musician, I need it now. Yeah. And so that's what we did. And we have 3 beautiful matte color finishes. And they're elegant looking yet rugged because they have a matte finish on them. And I think they look great. And so that's the build time. We're 5 business days, 1 week essentially. And the third thing is repair time. If something goes wrong, and nothing in this world is perfect, and so a driver or those miniature speaker, one of them can go out for a number of reasons, and so we designed a product to quickly remedy that. And so what we did is we made a removable faceplate, which the faceplate's the part that has the logo on it, and we're able to remove them by just unscrewing 3 screws. And get under the hood quickly, do what we need to do, quickly repair it, close it up, and ship it back out. So we're looking at days. Our average is like 1 to 2 days on a repair like that, an internal repair. So those are the 3 things: fit, turnaround time, and repair time.
Yeah, and like I said, I've been able to use this in church. I've played a couple times with these, and the clarity even between my 64 A3s, which I know that there's some time. I've had those for quite a while. So there's a time, but also just the sound quality of it, just being able to hear a lot more with these X4s, and everything was a lot clearer. It was kind of one of those things like I wasn't worried about as much about how bad I was screwing up or that kind of stuff, because I could hear what was going on. I could hear other parts and that kind of stuff, and like just the quality without having to have it blasting in your ears to hear everything. I mean, that's some of the stuff that I noticed. And then, like I said, the comfortability. Like at a certain point, you kind of forget that they're there.
Yeah, that was one of the goals is to make them so comfortable that they kind of disappear and they just do their job. And regarding what you're saying about the three, I mean, there's definitely a generation gap in technologies. But one of the unintended positive consequences of the in-ear canals technology is, so we call it in-ear canals because we're leaving the air in your canals, and so and sound needs space to develop properly. And so since we have more airspace in your canals, the sound is much more natural, has a bigger sound stage. It's not as kind of closed in sounding. So that's another thing where some folks have been using the X4s and they're like, man, I have 12 drivers from another company and these things just like are hanging right there or even better. And that blows me away, of course. But I think that's the effect of just letting the drivers breathe more, having more air in there.
So talking about the product line here, I mean, I love talking about all the technical and some of the stuff, but just actually talking about the product line. We got the X2, X3, and X4, starting at I think $499, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So starting at $499, capping off at $999, which I mean definitely sounds expensive until you actually go to like some of the 6 drivers, with some of the other companies and stuff. But why are you number one only doing these 3 product lines? But I mean, what is the focus for these product lines? For the verticals, are they kind of so they're accessible for like the houses of worship? For your average weekend warrior. I mean, what is the focus with the actual product lines?
Yeah. So houses of worship was one of the markets we had in mind for this product, because churches don't have, or they have budgets, but it's always it's always tight, and you can't always, unless you're like a professional maybe national touring artist. $2,000, $1,500 is a lot of money. And then sometimes the repair, something goes wrong and it's another few $100s. That kind of stuff happens. And so we wanted to bring a really great in-ear monitor at a much more accessible price. And yes, one of them is houses of worship. It's great, very nicely priced for folks that are maybe playing 2 or 3 times a month, or even 1 time a month, but they want to have a great monitor mix and be comfortable with a custom fit. And so yes, that's them. And then really anybody that's we have a lot of folks that are that just need something quick and they don't want to buy another Amazon in-ear, and they're like, yeah, this is great because it's not breaking the bank. I'm going to get it quickly in time for my tour or string of shows, and it's going to be much more comfortable than a universal fit. And so it all kind of comes together. So that's been huge. And we have quite a bit of artists that are that really can afford anything that are using the product as well in the Christian industry, and even in some of the kind of mainstream as well. So it's really, I think, one of the biggest differentiating factors is the in-ear canals. That's something nobody else is offering, and it's once they try it, or once their good friend says like, you gotta try this, it really works well for them once they actually try it and get on them.
Yeah. And I mean, I've had that happen to me as well. Yeah, I've told some good friends. I don't know. Rhett might see this and say, hey, good friend, no. But like Rhett Walker, I did kind of the same thing. Is hey, dude, these things are amazing. I've been using them for a minute now. Like, hey, you got to try these out. And then Rhett gives you a call, and now Rhett's a Bellos artist as well, and you know, talk a little bit about, getting into the CCM space. First off, who is your favorite Bellows artist that you have?
Listen, you're asking me to say who's my favorite child. Well, in a way, these relationships are really dear to me. But one of the new ones. I mean, one of the ones that blew me away, and actually, we've been listening to their album with them, my whole family, is Kane.
Wow.
Super cool music and super cool people. We got to meet them. Yeah, they've been great, and they're a Bellows artist, and they really enjoyed their product from us. So Mac
I was totally
Powell's
trying to
been
get you in
great.
trouble. Yep, Matt.
Now you want
Yeah,
now I have to name everybody. No,
yeah, I know,
everyone.
right?
Honestly, it's such a pleasure to. I mean, it also blows me away sometimes. I have to pinch myself, like, Mac Powell is on our product, and
Yep.
I listened to him on the radio when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So that's really awesome. But yeah, it's been great, and naturally the CCM, we just have a lot of friends in the industry because, like I said, I was in a band, and we were a Christian band, and so we had a lot of kind of friends and connections in that in that space. And when this product was launched, the X Series, it just kind of it was very natural. It all came together very naturally. Just word of mouth started to spread. What else is really cool is that I'm almost on a regular basis kind of reconnecting with folks from like 10 years ago.
Wow.
That have, I actually was their artist rep before. So it's pretty cool. Really cool experience. Getting
Yeah,
to
Rhett was telling me about that in that whole process. He's like, wait,
yeah.
I think he was my artist rep at 64. So the 64s that I'm using now, and now coming into being a Bellows artist, is like kind of like full circle moment.
Yeah, lots of that. And I really enjoy that. That's really cool, reconnecting with everyone.
Yeah. So I guess just kind of wrapping up, as we're talking kind of mainly in the Christian music space here, why is it how why has it been so awesome to be able to introduce this product? Like you said, Mac Powell, Big Daddy Weave, Rhett Walker. I mean, there's just so many, Kane, so many artists are kind of coming over, and, if nothing else, a raised eyebrow here and they're like, interesting. Why has it been so special to be able to invest in the Christian music space? Like, so not only the houses of worship, but now, some of these national touring artists, and just investing and putting the time and the product into this space.
Yeah, I apologize. You cut out for like 5 seconds there. The connection. Maybe we should redo this last question.
Okay. Yep. All right. So Vlad, just to kind of wrap it up here. So we're talking mainly about Christian music here. That's kind of what we do here at New Release today. The technical side of it's awesome. Kind of the house of worship side. I mean, definitely very important, for some of our newer artists that, we also cover, but also, that view our site and stuff. But I've got to ask, within the CCM space, I mean, we have Kane, we have Rhett Walker, Mac Powell. We didn't talk about Big Daddy Weave or Hannah Kerr, I mean, I could start going down the list. I mean, I'll have to take my shoes off to start counting how many artists there are, Bellows, that are in this Christian music space. Why is it so special for you to be, like, not only just for the reconnection side, but why is it so special to be investing and being starting to become such a player in this space here? As all these bands are going out on the road and sharing their music, sharing the word.
Yeah, well, of course, I'm a believer, and so it really makes it more special on kind of a next level, not just in a business kind of thing, but it's empowering folks, bands, artists, to kind of to do what they do. We're walking alongside them, and we play a small piece in what they're doing out there every night on tour, and that is just leading people in worship and being the light in this world. And so that to me it just adds another layer of meaning to what we're doing. and I've always been passionate about that. And so, to me, it's just, I guess, a very complete and fulfilling process, especially to be able to work with so many, Christian and CCM artists.
That's so cool. I mean, so before we go, I almost forgot to mention the earplugs, and that is totally my fault. But I love the earplugs as well. You have the custom, basically these same ones here, just cut the cord and the earplugs.
Yeah.
My first go round with them was at Red Rocks. And I mean, by the time the night was over, like half the time I had to pull them out because, oh, geez, I have them in, But, just being a photographer, doing the media and stuff like that has been so important to, protect my hearing there. And as I'm walking literally across the stacked subs or something like that, my eardrums aren't getting blown out by that, but I'm still able to be there, to get the shots or the footage.
Yeah, essentially, they're the most comfortable earplugs, custom earplugs you're going to have, when and durable as well, because there's soft ones out there, but they don't last that long. Yeah. But these ones, they have the in-ear canals tech, so they're very comfortable. You can take them in and out with very little kind of ear fatigue, and and they just sit there nicely. And again, you kind of forget you have them in there because they're so comfortable. So I'm glad you're really enjoying them.
Yeah, and I will confirm that they can survive a wash cycle. They can survive the drive. Not intentionally. It was not an intentional test, but that's a service, I provide for you, Vlad, field testing, making sure that they survive the
Amazing. I'm so glad you did that.
Oh, goodness. Well, Vlad, I'm very happy to be a Bellos artist, which it's still crazy actually saying that out loud, but very happy to be a Bellos artist. I love these. I love what you're doing in the space. And just really appreciate you taking some time here to just tell us more about it.
Hey, man, thank you for having me, and thank you for the support, and helping us get the kind of the message and the product out there more, and really appreciate that. Yeah.